Welcome to Estero Today, produced by Engage Estero. I'm your host, Mike Wasson. It's heartbreaking, and it can be incredibly challenging. Dealing with and caring for a family member with dementia is emotionally and physically draining. This is a very difficult subject and one we don't like to talk about. But with knowledge and understanding, you are better able to deal with it, and the life of your loved one is improved. As a retirement community, Estero has many individuals who are older and may be dealing with dementia. So we think it's an important topic that needs to be better understood. My mother was a primary caregiver for my grandmother who developed dementia. My grandmother was eventually diagnosed as having Alzheimer's disease. The last time I saw my grandmother, she barely knew her daughter, let alone me, her oldest grandson. My mother-in-law also had dementia. Her signs were somewhat different. She would constantly repeat the same questions again and again, even though you had just answered them 5 minutes earlier. Both my grandmother and my mother-in-law lived well into their 90s. Family members and caregivers often experience emotional stress, confusion, and frustration as they try to navigate this type of situation. Most people facing these challenges are unsure about how to act or what steps to take in this demanding situation. Alan Bowditch, president of Engage Estero, has recently written a two-part article on how to handle a family member with dementia and includes some important tips on the journey through dementia and dementia care. His article is based on guidelines provided by doctors, nurses, and professional caregivers. Time doesn't permit me to cover all the information in the articles. So if this is an important topic for you, I encourage you to go to our website, esterotoday.com, for all the details and to see the two-part article. But in the next few minutes, I'd like to share a few of the highlights from that article. First, dementia occurs through a series of stages from mild through moderate and finally severe. Some forgetfulness is normal during aging. These concerns can trigger anxiety. But when forgetfulness starts to interfere with daily life, such as occasional confusion or difficulty with once easy tasks, then it may be time to consult a healthcare professional. These symptoms may indicate an early stage of what's known as mild dementia. At this stage, it's essential to do the following with an individual. Offer gentle reminders and prompts without being condescending. Encourage interdependence where possible. That is, allow them to perform tasks, but with some guidance. Maintain routines and structure to create a sense of security. Be patient. Avoid correcting them when they forget things. Now, moderate dementia with the middle stage has the following symptoms: increased forgetfulness, confusion about time and place, difficulty recognizing loved ones, mood swings, and increased dependence on others for tasks. Professional advice at this stage centers on the need to break down tasks into smaller, more manageable steps. Use simple language and ask one question at a time. Provide emotional support. Remember, dementia can cause anxiety, depression, and frustration in the patient and in you too. Ensure their safety. Remove hazards and install safety measures. For example, put locks and alarms in where appropriate. Be prepared for behavior changes like agitation or wandering. Severe dementia or late stage involves loss of verbal communication and inability to recognize familiar people. There can be significant physical decline. It's possibly time to get the help of care facilities when this occurs. Remember, more information is available in the article on our website at esterotoday.com. In that article, there is a complete dementia caregiver checklist with details in the part 2 portion of the story. But in summary, I'd like to mention quickly the 9 important tips that caregivers need to know. First, it takes patience and emotional support. Second, communication techniques like speaking slowly and nonverbal cues are important. Third, keep a routine and structure for the individual. Assist with daily tasks. Fourth, safety considerations. Keep track of medications. Be sure the environment is safe. 5, support and resources for caregivers are also essential. 6, it's important that you manage your own well-being. 7, consider legal and financial aspects, a power of attorney, advance directives, and financial planning. 8, manage challenging behaviors such as wandering, aggression, or agitation. And 9, as symptoms progress, seek professional help, including nurses, home aides, or moving your loved one into a care facility. I'd like to add one other additional piece of information. The New York Times, in their August 5th Science Times section of the paper, had a column called Well, which is a regular feature. And in that column on August 5th, they talked about using an AI companion for dementia patients. They pointed out that products are being developed in an effort to reduce loneliness and bolster cognition for patients with dementia. Testing continues on these products, and there are pros and cons, but it is a cutting-edge technology aimed at the goal of improving a person's mood and that person's quality of life. In summary, dealing with dementia, no matter what the stage, can feel like an overwhelming responsibility. However, with proper guidance, the right resources, a supportive environment, you can significantly improve the quality of life for both your loved one and yourself. No doubt about it, it's an arduous journey, but one where compassion and patience can go a long way to making it easier. It is imperative for you as a caregiver to take a medical holiday. You should take time off for yourself. If you don't, the risk is burnout, exhaustion, and stress that increases. And this can negatively affect your own well-being and the quality of care that you can provide to your loved one. Finally, sometimes the level of care required can exceed what a family member or friend can provide. Getting help is not a defeatist but a realist idea. And such a scenario will be as much of a benefit for your loved one as it will be for you, the caregiver. Tough subject, but thanks for joining us this week at Estero Today. We hope you have found the information interesting and helpful. If so, like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the bell icon. We encourage you to share this podcast with your friends. Comment below or email us with your ideas for future podcasts. Our email address is info@esterotoday.com. That's info, info@esterotoday.com. Produced by Engage Estero, this is your host, Mike Wasson, wishing you a good week and hoping you can join us next week for more news on Estero Today.